Just the awareness of going, oh wow, actually, this guy goes a lot deeper than what I even thought was possible. And you just did one of those, you're gonna win.
Connect your target market, collecting data and sending very targeted messages specific to those lists that you've got.
Yes.
Did you want to run down those lists, or did you just do?
Yeah, cool. So a couple examples for you I've got, and play with these as you see fit. So number one is let's look at our current depending where you listen to this in the world, this might be out of your hands already, but you've got current patients or clients. So right now you've got current active, they're in the diary. Maybe you're getting forced to close this week. What are you going to do for those people? My suggestion is this phase, if you haven't been forced to close yet, the only thing you should be focusing on is reducing loss of momentum. Because what will happen is if we force to close, people will come back. Life will come back to normal, but you're going to stop routines from happening. You know, if you went the same route to buy your Starbucks coffee every morning, that you're going to be out of routine for a while, and etc. So you may not do that for the first month back to normality, etc. So you want to do everything in your power to install decreased loss of momentum. If you're currently operating still, the way you do that is right now you should be future booking as far. If you haven't already been doing that, the problem is never the problem. You should absolutely be pushing and measuring.
We lost your sound.
Sorry, I know what it is. So if you're currently not doing that.
Okay, so if you haven't already been doing that.
Sorry, if you haven't already been doing that, you should absolutely be now booking as far ahead of time as possible. Why? Because this is what you want to be able to do. When someone phones and cancels, let's assume that's going to happen. You want to be able to just say, it's all good, you're already booked up for the next. And that's an easy conversation to have. So that's people currently in the diary. And the reason I'm saying that is there are people listening to this who are very disciplined with booking ahead of time, but there are people who listen to this that have never booked ahead of time. Now you want to be going, oh
and
wow.
For those of you that are not in the UK, when he says diary, he's talking about your schedule.
Your schedule.
Just so people are all on the same page.
Yeah, you want to be booking, you want to make sure you look at that schedule way ahead of time now, more than ever, and go, what I call a future visit stat, how many people as a percentage, let's say you saw whatever amount of people this week, or as a percentage, how many of those are booked in the diary a month from now, 2 months from now, and the higher that percentage, the better place you're going to be because they're already in the diary. So that's, I mean, I've got a good friend of mine practices down the road, and like nobody doesn't book for, 3, 6 months a year. That's just how he runs his practice for years. So he's sitting here going, well, it's not such a big deal for me. Everyone's booked ahead for months ahead of time.
Exactly.
So that's number one. So current patients in the diary right now, what are you doing for them now to prepare for the eventuality? And that's booking ahead of time. Yes. Then if you are going to, let's say we shut, you got current patients, meaning they've been active in the last 3 months by definition in this definition, but they've got no future appointments booked. So they're pretty hot. They've been in the diary, in the schedule, and now you're going to go, okay, so what am I doing right now to reactivate them now quickly while it's still not too serious, if you will, and kind of go and emulate that future visits that you've never done with them before maybe, but now you've got to be doing that now before you close. So that's another list. Then let's go straight to our inactive list. So now inactive by definition is going to be different in every practice. But you may say that for you, definition of inactive is hasn't been in the practice for 3 months, potentially. And you just come with your own definition and going back 2-3 years, and that's inactive, let's say. But now you're going to go further and you got inactive high spends, which we spoke about. We've got inactive high spends. And what are you going to do for them? These are potentially your top 5% that are responsible for 70%. Just about, what are you going to do for them? And like you come up with a campaign for those people and go, okay, cool, they're going to get X amount of emails, this is the offer we're going to give, we're going to throw the kitchen sink of them because they're proven buyers, they love our product, they've already spent X amount. What are we going to do for those people? Then you've got inactives, kind of the rest. Oh, there's actually 3. You've got inactives that have maybe don't classify as a prospect. They actually used your service and they've paid you money before, okay, and they've come through, and then not quite high spenders. So you've got that list, which will probably be your biggest list that you may not be able to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in print or etc. So then you've got to decide a campaign that's appropriate for them. Maybe you don't have a direct mail piece in that. Because it's going to cost you quite a bit. You really want to focus on those top spenders. For instance, for your top spenders, you may have a telephone call for every single one of them. You may have a personal text for every single one of them, and you may be sending them a gift in the post. So that's the media is going to change. And then the last group is, which I wouldn't focus too much on right now, is your kind of prospects. They've booked an appointment, they never really came back. That's another list altogether. But I want to separate those because I don't want to making crazy cool offers to those people because they clearly they weren't engaged at that point. But even separating from that list, because we're a mom and pop industry and the biggest challenge we have is capacity, meaning if you only got one front desk or CA person, etc., you've got to really make sure that your bang for your buck is at its highest. If you've only got the capacity to make 200 phone calls, you better make sure those are the 200 highest spenders. So so that's based in a nutshell those categories that I would be at least have those lists, and then within those lists, for instance, we're going to eliminate anyone under 25 because I don't want to be. I would always be nervous that it's weird to mark unless you've got your clean data in there to marking to the parent. I don't want to be sending a 15-year-old, a marketing message, and it's weird.
Right. Yes.
So I'll just eliminate that out, and make other eliminations just to help you with that. And then you have a specific message to that market, and the media changes in that. Is it just a text? Is it just an email? Is it phone call, email, text, and post? And it's going to be different for each market. So that's where I won't go too much deeper than that. But I think if all someone did from this podcast is go, wow, just the understanding, the first part to change is awareness. Just the awareness of going, oh wow, actually, this guy goes a lot deeper than what I even thought was possible. And you just did one of those, you're gonna win. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you know exactly when I'm coming on to give you a great tip.